Robert, how are you doing?
Very well, thank you.
Good, good. Yes, so welcome to another one of our Ask the Expert videos. And as you can see all across blazoned behind you, you work for Sheffield Royal Society for the Blind, which is, and they also run the Rotherham Sight and Sound as well, don't you? It's all part of the same organisation.
Yes, it's all the same charity. It's not a sub-charity. It is it's run by Sheffield Royal Society for the Blind, but it's run on behalf of the citizens of Rotherham.
Right.
Rotherham Council asked us to help them set something up. So we did, and we run it, but it's designed for the people in Rotherham, by the people in Rotherham, actually. Quite a group of visually impaired people got together and said what they wanted. So it's not a copy by any means of SRSB. It's bespoke what was wanted in Rotherham.
Excellent. And do you want to just sort of introduce yourself so people know sort of who you are and what you do?
Yeah, well, as I say, I'm Robert. I work at SRSB and RSS when necessary. I'm the equipment advisor now. Roles have changed because of the pandemic. Whether they will change back in the future, I don't know. So my job is at the moment to advise people about equipment and what is the best answer. And personally, I see a lot of it as trying not to get people to spend lots of money. Because everybody thinks, how much is it going to cost me to get my sight back? And the answer is there's no amount of money that will do that. But let's get you the best equipment or the best resources or the best advice to allow you to live your life as well as you can possibly live it.
Okay, and do you because you used to have quite a nice shop, part of the new centre there that I always used to see you in there.
Yeah.
So and a lot of equipment in there you had, didn't you, to show?
We've still got the equipment centre.
Yeah.
It's still there. It's still not quite as full of equipment as it used to be, because we've let the stock levels run down, because obviously we're not having people in the building, so the shop isn't running as a shop. But it's still there to hold equipment. It's still there to do face-to-face meetings if we have to do those with people, because even with the pandemic, when people are doing advice forms, things like this for PIP or attendance allowance, it has to be private. So it's a nice private room to do those sort of things in as well. So it gets used for that, as well as just holding some stock, but a lot less than it used to. So if we ever get back to normal, when we get back to normal, it'll be a big ordering session going on of buying lots of stuff in.
Absolutely, absolutely. So is there a resource centre at Rotherham?
There is. It's a very small area at Rotherham. It's at the moment it's behind reception, because Rotherham Sight and Sound is a much smaller building. Its footprint is very small. But there's still investment going in there. There's talk about they're pricing up to have a lift put in to make full use of all the floors, because I think it's got 4 floors in total, which are only accessible by stairs, which is not suitable for a lot of our clients in Rotherham. So they're having a lift put in. They're going to have a proper kitchen put in. They're still spending money on it and still trying to improve it, at which point the small equipment centre they have there might move to make a proper reception area, and move the equipment centre that they have there into a different floor or a different room.
Yeah, because it's a big room behind the reception, isn't it? There.
Yes.
And then of course there's on the floors above, because they do quite a lot with deaf above, don't they?
Yes. Well, it's because it's Rotherham Sight and Sound. So when the Rotherham Council asked us to get involved, they said they don't just want it for visually impaired, they want it for hearing impaired as well. So we have Tony that works there, who is deaf himself, and he does all the support for the hard of hearing, so anyone with hearing problems, and then the rest of the staff, myself, if need to go across and do anything for visually impaired and things like that. So at the moment it's all done like this. It's all done through telephone calls,
through on Zoom, exactly,
video conferencing. At work, we actually think this is going to carry on, even if things go back to normal.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a very good way to meet people who have problems physically getting to our location.
Yes.
And we've realized that we've known people wanted to come in but couldn't. And well, this way we can sort of get to them.
Yeah, I mean, you've got an excellent location right in the centre and on the tram routes and bus routes, etc. But when someone's got a mobility issue, then it's going to be a good way going forward.
Yeah, I mean, we've had people. We run a course called Looking Ahead, and it's for people who are newly registered visually impaired. So when they're ready for it, they attend the Looking Ahead course, and we talk about equipment and benefits, advice, and all sorts of things, mobility, everything to do with visual impairment on it. And the people have attended the last Looking Ahead course on the virtual system who have been years wanting to come to the actual one but couldn't physically attend. So it's very good that we can meet people that way as well. It does give me some slight problems with obviously equipment. You can't hand it round and say, here, have a look. Yeah. I have to describe it and try and demonstrate it through cameras, which isn't quite as good. And these systems being as they are, it's always little pictures on the screen. So I tell people, look, use the Windows magnifier, try and use the share my screen so that it takes over their screen and shows them a big picture of whatever I'm doing. So there's lots of things like that we have to get to grips with and make the most of all this new way of working.
Yes, yeah. So what's your history? How did you get involved with Sheffield Society?
Well, mine, it goes back a few years. It goes back to I guess it goes back to when my sight went, which was 1981, when I was diagnosed with Stargardts macular dystrophy. But in that time, I was 21 then. I'm 60 now, and I didn't want anything to do with the visually impaired. I just wanted to carry on working and do my job and live my life the way I wanted to live it, which I think is fair enough if anyone says that to me. If that's how they want to proceed, then fine. But I came to a point at the previous employer where I wanted them to help me because I took part in a stem cell trial. And you need a lot of time to do those. You need to go down to the hospitals. I think I had to make 30 trips down to London in 1 year. And I said, can you help me with time? I didn't want money. I didn't want anything like that. I said, can you just give me some days off? And they sort of went, no, we can't really, which I didn't like. Luckily for me, a job came up at SRSB. I applied for it. I spoke to our general manager, Steve, got the interview. And he said, well, yeah, to do the job that I do, you have to be visually impaired. You have to have an understanding of visual impairment. I might not understand exactly what RP is. I know it's sort of vaguely the opposite of what I've got. I don't know what glaucoma is. I haven't got glaucoma. I don't know how that feels. But I do have a sight condition. So I applied, I was offered the job and jumped at it. And I've actually loved it ever since.
And how long have you been there now?
It will be, I've just been thinking about this actually, it's 7 years next month.
7 years, March, gosh.
I will have been at SRSB for 7 years.
Excellent.
And it's just one of those things like, oh yeah, 7-year anniversary coming up already. It's
it has, isn't it? Yeah, I remember you joining, I think. So how would you, when someone, okay, let's go back to before COVID. So someone was interested in some equipment, how would you get to meet them, or would they be referred, or would they just drop in, or how would it work?
There's many ways. They could come in because they've heard of us. They might come in because the hospital has referred them to us. Now in Sheffield, we have the ECLOs in the hospital, which is brilliant, really, really useful service. Or we've contacted them because when someone is registered, partially sighted or severely sight impaired, the forms are sent off to the council and those are then passed to us, and we give someone a ring and say, look, are you interested? Yep. It's entirely up to them. So whichever way they come in, and then we have a discussion. And like I said at the beginning, a lot of people think, how much is it going to cost? What can I spend to get my sight back? And first of all, you have to disappoint people by saying, well, there's no amount that will do it. But what you might need is a simple felt pen. So you get a felt pen that's thicker than a biro, and you can carry on writing a little bit bigger, a little bit larger, definitely bolder. And all of a sudden, well, I can do my shopping list. I can take telephone numbers down. I can write letters. Actually, I don't need to spend thousands of pounds on something. A felt pen has cured it. That's the very simple answer that some people can get with. Others, it can be, well, I need a CCTV magnifier. I need something that will read to me. So your clear
reader, yeah,
clear reader, clear view,
smart reader, yeah,
the smart reader, the clear reader, the clear view, the CCTV magnifier, things like that. There's lots of other new technologies coming along that are very, easily portable, like OrCam, that actually clips onto glasses and is with you all the time. It's amazing the way it's going, and maybe those are the answer for them. It could be that, that could be the right answer. It could be a felt pen. It could be anywhere in between the two.
Yeah. And you deal with the sort of lighting and that side of it?
Yeah. I mean, here I'm lit now. I have a daylight ceiling light above me, which is an ordinary bulb. It's just 6,500 Kelvin, which is meant to represent daylight. So it's a very white light, very different to warm white light. So people can buy those all over the place. Normally they're a little bit more expensive, but they're very good. Don't go crazy with them. But you can do that. And I actually have a light off to my right, which I have specifically here at the moment set up for doing these sorts of things, so that I'm not in shadow. And then actually to my right, I've just drawn the curtains as we started to make sure that there's no light change in there, to try and keep light constant. And that helps me, but then also on things like this, it helps where it's constant and there aren't fluctuations, and there isn't a big bright light behind me like a window and I'm sat in shadow. So you're constantly thinking about light as a visually impaired person. What can you do to improve it? Do you go and stand by the front window, or do you buy a daylight bulb or a lamp or whatever it takes to try and maximize what sight you've got?
Yeah, and do you do, I mean, I know people can get the optical magnifiers from when they go to a low vision clinic and get prescribed on it. Do you also supply magnifiers, or do you just leave that to the...
We do. We supply the same as the Royal Hallamshire Hospital in Sheffield. So I believe they get theirs from you, so we get ours from you. Our encouragement by default is to encourage people to go to the hospital, because they are issued for free, whereas we obviously have to charge money. But the hospital will only issue one magnifier. So if someone says, well, I need two, a lady a couple of years ago said, well, I don't like carrying it round with me all the time, so I leave one upstairs and I want one downstairs. So I said, well, bring the one in you've got, or get the details off it. She came back in with it. I said, oh, it's one of these. Looked at it. Right, I'll order that for you. And then she's got two, so she has one upstairs and one downstairs. Yeah. And it's to try and, well, like I said at the beginning, make people's lives as comfortable as possible. And I always think about be as independent as possible. So
absolutely.
If people happy, and I always say, even not even visiting SRSB, that means that they're happy at home. That means that everything's working properly for them. And that's really good then. But if they want to come and visit us and sit in the equipment centre and just chat to me, which a lot do, and like having a little natter, I don't mind that at all. I'm quite happy with that.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point. I think, it's often not just one solution or one magnifier. It could be 2 or 3 or 4 different things. One might be an expensive magnifier, but 2 or 3 might be your pen and another portable magnifier, just to help you with all sorts of different problems. Because no one thing, I think, we both know is going to solve all your problems. No,
and no one magnifier will do it, actually. I mean, I tell people that if you get an appointment at the hospital, take in real things that you want to read. Don't take bank statements, and they say the same, actually, because it's a bit too personal, the information on there. But take in the back of a frozen food packet, where it's green ink on a yellow background. That's horrible. No one likes reading those. Even people who can see perfectly well don't like the colour schemes they use, but the designers like to use them. But cut that out, take that in, take in a tin of beans or a tin of soup. How do you read round a curved surface? Does the magnifier they offer allow you to do that, or do you need a slightly different one? So pop a few things in your bag that you're actually going to read for real and take them in. They'll have newspapers and they'll have printed material you can read. But take in real things that matter to you, and then try them out and get the best fit for you, really. That's the thing, is to get what works for you, which will be different to everybody else.
Yeah. And so how's it working now? I mean, before people come in and register, so is it just a question of Zoom and speaking to people on the phone?
It's mostly on the phone, but if people really have to come in, then we can. But we have to be aware of who's coming in on what day. So all members of staff have to be aware of that. So we don't all say, well, I've got someone coming in and 10 other members of staff all say the same thing and go, oh, actually, that was way too many people. So you're constantly asking around, look, can I bring someone in on this day or this day? At the moment, actually, our building is only open 2 days a week.
Right, okay.
Which is Mondays and Thursdays. And even that's only for staff. Because there are certain things that we do, like the newsletter that we print every quarter. People have to come in to actually physically print that. There are quizzes that are sent out every week. That's done on a Thursday, so it's posted out to everybody. So you need the space of an office as opposed to a dining room table. And actually you need the photocopier, which is more important than anything. So it's open for 2 mornings, at which point it is possible to have someone come in and meet you there. I mean, weirdly, I've been down there this morning because my laptop needed updating. So I had to run down there this morning, get it updated, then run back to do this afternoon. So that was interesting. It got me out of it.
Yes, thank you very much for that.
Actually, I quite liked it because I've been out for once.
Yes, that's it. Getting out. That's the thing, isn't it? Yeah. So, what are the things would you do for people who are interested in equipment? I mean, I know you have exhibitions there because I've been to do exhibitions there before, and I know
we have the exhibitions. We have lots of donated equipment. People who don't want it for whatever reason might hand it to us and say, look, can you make use of this, which we always can. So donated equipment is really useful. Like the big CCTVs, we've got quite a few in at the moment, because obviously we can't get people in to look at them. No. And then obviously they're sold as a way of raising funds for the charity. And obviously they're considerably cheaper than buying a brand new one. But it's always pointed out, obviously with the brand new one, you get warranties, etc., which you don't get on secondhand stuff. So this is all pointed out to try and make sure they're fully aware that they're buying the correct thing for them.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. So what other things do Sheffield Society normally offer to people with an eyesight problem? I mean, I know you're in charge of the equipment side of it, but they do other things as well, courses.
We do, and I should say we did do other things. Obviously, an awful lot, and I'd say more than 90% has stopped. We had a activities room. Yeah, clients could come in on a weekly or daily basis to do various activities. It could be crafts or painting or writing group. There was a reminiscence group where people just come in, they just talk about all their memories of their life. And other people who would remember these things, so they could have a talk about that. They'd have lunch, so get a lovely hot cooked meal every day. That's gone. There's the cafe.
Because you've got a cafe in the front, haven't you? Yeah.
There's a cafe at the front where clients, visually impaired people, could drop in and get a cup of tea or a sandwich, whatever they wanted. It's not open to the public, but family members could come in if they came in with the client. So as long as the visually impaired person came in as well, then the daughter could come with them, or the grandchild or something like that could come with them and have a cup of tea or coffee. We had computer training. So a lot of the world now is smartphones. And when you first get a smartphone, they're just a fairly inaccessible piece of glass and plastic. So we had someone who could train you how to use that. That was mostly based around Apple equipment or Android / Samsung equipment. Then obviously there's desktop computers, laptops, tablets, all that sort of tech that a lot of people now take for granted. That's all stopped. And it's a great shame, because with these virtual systems, you get the most out of them if someone's there to teach you, like everything else.
Yes.
It's actually a great shame that we can't do that, because you literally have to sit side by side with someone for 2 hours and that's just not allowed.
Certainly, I've been doing a lot of training either by the phone or on Zoom, you know, for clients who've got new equipment, etc. Yeah,
it's difficult to do. It's something I can do. I mean, I do a lot now. I've just literally just taken in today someone's mobile phone that they've managed to lock, and I had to get onto it's an Apple phone actually, and I had to get onto Apple and get it unlocked, and that takes a long time. It takes Apple is so security conscious. It takes a very long time to get them to unlock something, but eventually I did it, so I've taken it back, so we can go back to them now. And it's actually, I think, something that I can do fairly well over the phone, because I've had the sight problem for so long. If someone points and goes, "Oh, this," and points at it, that actually doesn't help me at all.
Yeah.
No point pointing. But if I tell them to describe it over the phone, I can deal with that a lot better. A description, I can picture it in my head, so I can always deal with technical problems over the phone far better than I can if I'm actually with the person. Because if I'm with the person, they instantly start pointing at things.
Yeah.
But if I have to do it over the phone and verbally, they have to describe it, and then I can picture it in my head and go, "Oh, that is, yes, I know what they're doing. Yeah. This is what we need to do." So I've always been able to do that, and that was from my skill I had previously, where I worked on a help desk, and it was very easy then because everything was done verbally over the phone.
Yes.
And you could solve a lot of problems that way. So that I always found a very useful skill to have.
Yeah. And have you got any idea when you might be opening up? I keep on this, how anyone has an answer to that question. I don't know.
We need to talk to Boris nicely. Actually see if he doesn't, ask him not to open up too quickly.
Yeah.
I think is an important question to ask, you know, like not when are we opening up? It's like, how long are you prepared to leave it? Because that's a safe thing to do.
Yeah.
But the over 70s now have pretty much all had their jabs as we speak today. They're talking about the 65s to 70. I'm hopefully, fingers crossed, in the next group. And at that point, we might be able to do limited opening, but I mean, you're talking to the wrong guy to start with. I'm an equipment advisor. I don't make decisions like this. But probably towards the end of the year, assuming it doesn't all go wrong again.
Yeah,
there's some very, very big assumptions there when we talk about these things.
Yes, yeah. So, well, fingers crossed.
I mean, that's it. I mean, we'd love to have everybody back. I mean, I've had to ring our clients at home and talk to them, and when they realise who they're talking to, "Oh, it's Rob, is it? All right." And we have a chat for a bit.
Yes.
The question they all say is, "When are we coming back? When can I come back and sit and meet all my friends?"
Yes.
Because they are friends. When they come in on a Monday or a Tuesday, they all sit around the same tables. They all know each other very well. And they really, really miss each other. And that is the worst thing, that these really good friendships have been broken for a year. Well, nearly a year now, isn't it? So that is a great shame. So hopefully we can do that, and we can do it, and we can have people back in. And maybe we'll do different things.
Yes.
Will we go back to what we were before? Is this an opportunity to change? I don't know.
Yeah,
that's for people above me to think about and discuss.
Work out.
I think it's a great opportunity, to be honest.
Good.
I think this world has been given something horrible, but also a way of doing things differently. So I think there are real opportunities out there to do things differently, and maybe do them better.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a really good positive note on which to end.
Yeah.
And thank you very much for your time. It's been really good. And I look forward to seeing you in person in the future.
Hopefully it'll be this year.
Hopefully this year.
Yeah, we'll say 20.
Okay, well, thanks so much, Robert.
Yeah. Cheers then.
Yes.
Thanks, Mark.
Yeah,
Bye-bye.
that's it.